So welcome to our last session of the day, visualization techniques for providing system performance measures. So we have 4 presentations, and we're going to go just in the order here on our program. So we're starting out with Jay Stiles. So if you noticed, I guess I have a little bit more information, but the common theme of the presenters is they're either from Virginia DOT or they work for Cambridge Systematics, or they have a connection to one of the two. So you'll have to listen to during the intros to make sure you catch the connections. So Jay Stiles is a division administrator of the Performance and Strategic Planning Division at the Virginia Department of Transportation, where he's responsible for the agency's business plan development and implementation, as well as the performance management program to include the agency's growing fleet of dashboards. Jay.
All right, well, thank you everybody for hanging out on Tuesday afternoon, 4 o'clock. I know it's been kind of a long day. You've had a lot of information thrown at you today. I want to throw a little bit different information at you because I'm not going to talk about operations data or safety data. I want to talk about some project data that we've got in our dashboards here. And so how many people just are familiar with VDOT's dashboard and think they know a little bit about what I'm going to say? Okay, so we got a few hands. I'm going to show you some different things. We're trying to update it. So most of you know it's been around for a while. We started in 2003 with a version of that there on the right, just showing our project data. And we expanded that out over time and to include our operations data, safety data, maintenance, bridge pavement conditions data. And we have been working on expanding that and now and just kind of moving over to the new technology that we need. We were on an outdated .NET platform and we're converting that over. So we are moving over. I'm going to show you what we're doing now with our project style. And then I'm also going to show you, in between this, we did a smart scale dashboard, which is, if you're not familiar with, in Virginia, we have that is our project prioritization process, where we go through, they go through and rank all the projects and have a selection, and then they are funded separately. We have a separate tool for tracking those. I'm going to show you the difference between the two because it's 2 different approaches to how to visualize data. And really, the kind of central question is, who is your audience and what are you trying to do? So I think that's something when we talk about visualizing data, I think that's something that you want to kind of always keep in mind. So anyway, so I've got a slide deck. I don't want you to look at it, okay? I want everybody to pull out their phones or their tablets or their laptops. I want you to play along with me on these because both of these tools, what I'm going to show you today, everything's open to the public. So you can get out there and look at this while we're talking and just go ahead and play around with it. And if you got questions, just shoot them out, okay? Because I kind of want to get those as we're going along, so feel free. This tells you a little bit how to get to it. You can get to it from the VDOT website, where you can just search Smart Scale Dashboard or Dashboard VDOT Dashboard 4.0. There's a couple of different ways to get to it. I guess I better point at this one. So that's the little clicker down there. There is up here in the top right, there's one for the Smart Scale Dashboard too. And you can kind of look and see, and we're going to kind of compare the 2 of them a little bit and just see the differences there. So this is our main dashboard that we're redoing. I'm going to talk about this dial here today because this is kind of the heart and soul of it, is tracking our project information. So we're going to talk about that a little bit. So you click on that, and then you get to our new look and feel. And the new look and feel is probably going to be a little similar to the old look and feel because that's the feedback that we got along the way. That we tried changing some things, and I'm going to go over that a little bit. And then people said, no, we kind of like what we had. So that's when you try new things. Sometimes that's the feedback you get is that maybe you need to kind of go back to what you had here a little bit. So we've got this. We'll take you to this home page view of the dashboard, and then from there you can drill into various information. So all right, who's got it pulled up on their phone? All right, good. All right, good. I'm just checking to see. Y'all didn't know there was going to be a test. So okay. All right. So let me just kind of walk you through this a little bit. So this projects page here, we try to keep this first page when you get in here fairly simple. But there's a lot of information on it and a lot of different views. So first of all, I just want to say, just kind of let you know, how many people are familiar with Power BI? Microsoft Power, okay, lots of people. This is all done in Power BI. So, and this was all built by my staff. He was here, I got a couple of them here today, Sabrina and Ranjani, and they helped on this. And this is all built on the business side of the house. Okay, there was an IT effort to pull the data in and get it ready, and they helped, and we had a team of folks where our team, our analysts sat down with IT, and we worked and built these materialized views to get the data up and populated so that Power BI could consume it. We had to do that because we found that the data, if you tried to do it in Power BI, it was going to take all day to load up. So that was the most efficient way to do that. But the visualization piece of this was all built by the business staff and the business side of the house without any IT support. So just to kind of, because that question comes up a lot that I get with, who built it, who designed it, whatnot. So it was all done internally with internal staff with just really a couple of folks working on it. So what we've got here, we've got a few different things. We've got our dials here. We tried to put, everybody wants to see the big percentages. Yes, we like gauges at VDOT. Yes, it's dashboard, it should have gauges, so keeping the transportation theme. I know there's like Tableau, I don't think they even have gauges in Tableau, I'm not sure. Yeah, so different strokes for different folks, I guess, but we really like the gauges because you can show where you're at today and against a target. And that's something with this dashboard. All this information on here updates daily. Comes from our source systems. So a project manager will put in information or something changes on a project one day and it will show up here the next day. So it's not really touched by human hands. Nobody's going into the dashboard per se. It's all going into our systems of record and being pulled from those via our data warehouse through materialized views into this data here. So we've got two big orange boxes. Our development side here, which is everything projects going from inception to award for the contractor, and then the delivery side here, which is really on the contractor side, once it's got awarded, how's the contractor doing in getting that out so that it's open to the traveling public. So we're seeing here, we've got our on time and on budget for how we're doing on development. And then how we're doing on delivery. I'm not going to go into too much of the business rules because this is a visualization conference, but there is everything. Let's see, where is it? One of these, quick guide, user's guide. Here you go. You got the quick guide, which gives you an overview of the dashboard, and then if you want to know anything there is to know about this thing, there is a 50-page guide there that has all the data in our user's guide. So we try to be pretty transparent with that, and then also, just from a transparency standpoint, we had people want to download the data. Here's an Excel file download here. So that was kind of one of our lessons learned in doing this. When we built a .NET structure, we could custom code whatever we wanted, and we had a really neat, you can sort and filter on your Excels and get a nice Excel report for what you wanted. And with this, we kind of didn't have that ability with Power BI too much, at least when we initially launched it, so we created a separate download, which will give you something to download if you have to download it. It's not as pretty as what we would like it to be. So we've got that. And then let's see, feedback button. Oh yeah, that's an important piece here, is trying to make sure we get feedback from folks, because we definitely, if anybody's got a question or whatnot on a project, we want to know feedback on the dashboard, and that carries through down to the project level as well. So we've got several filters across the top. You can look at all projects. You can look at just the VDOT managed projects. And then as we went through this, we've got locally managed. I'll talk a little bit about that one. And then I mentioned Smart Scale. We've got a view on just the Smart Scale projects. So we picked these because as we went through there and started looking at these changes, Smart Scale program has kind of started to really change our program a bit in terms of the types of projects that are getting in. And we're seeing a lot more locally managed projects coming through the system, more than we've had in the past. And while from a dollars perspective, VDOT still manages most of the dollars themselves, from a pure number of projects, the localities are managing more and more. And that is not a bad thing necessarily, except that as you see, and if you go in and sort on these filters, VDOT does a much better job of meeting our deadlines because this is work that we do every day, whereas a locality managing a project oftentimes is one of several hats that they'll wear. So, and they don't necessarily understand all the intricacies of the processes, particularly on federally funded projects. So, and definitely feel free to go through and look at this and hit your buttons and sort on this, and if you have any questions on that, just raise your hand. Let's see, going through here. So this is a detailed view. So as you can tell, there is a lot of information on this screen. Why is there a lot of information on this screen? Because this is what feedback we got, and I'll show you what we had before here in another slide or two. From our Smart Scale dashboard, we tried to come up with something that was more, I guess, phone friendly. And the feedback what we got was that no, really, we really want, we need information. So we actually have more information on the screen and per real estate than we've had in the past. So, but you can see it's a little busy to read at first, but once you get used to it, we've got our number of projects that we've got that are active and the dollar value of those projects, whether they're active for red, yellow, or green, completed red, yellow, or green, and then their total amount and the total dollar value there. So you can see how much work we've got underway at any one point in time. And this is defaulted to what is due coming up this fiscal year. So everything that's due to be awarded from July 1 of 2019 to June 30th of 2020. So we've got that, and then our one budget piece of it. How are we doing in tracking and meeting our budget, or is the project staying within that original budget that we set? We have a slew, and I mean a slew of filters down here. This is something that I would like to try to figure out how do we combine this down. I think this is one of our little shortcomings of Power BI. We could not figure out a kind of search all button type of thing. So, and then we got feedback, well, I really like to search, we got lots of folks internally that want to search by UPC. So you can search by UPC or search by district. So we have all these filters here that are overwhelming, I think, to anyone who's really kind of outside of VDOT and doesn't really know all this. You can find it, but it's there, but it's just a little bit overwhelming. So I think that's something in future views we would look to try to make that a little bit more user-friendly in terms of having like a search all function. And then down here, you can click on any one of these numbers, and you should be able to do that on your phone too. And pull up whatever. So if you want to see these 85 red projects, or if you want to filter down to a district, you can get whatever number of red projects are down here. And it will tell you the reason that it's on time or late, and then what rule is being applied. So we can see here, this one is yellow because the complete purchase right-of-way milestone is 32 days ahead of the expected completion date. And there's a risk of missing the milestone date. And basically what we did, I won't go into all the rules, but basically anything that's yellow, we created a warning track. So if you're getting really close to the date and you haven't awarded that or finished your activity yet, you're yellow. So we tried to arrange these rules to give more of a leading indicator. If you go in, if you turn an activity red, that's okay, but then the next activity you've got the opportunity to recover and go back to green. Previously on our old dashboard, it was just to one activity. Did we advertise the project one time? And you either got it or you didn't. So this one's a little bit more complicated to track, but it gives people a chance to recover as we go through. You can click on any of one of these projects down here. And unfortunately, if you're familiar with Power BI, to click on this, it is a right click, and then you get a little menu that comes up and it's a drill through. And then you can drill through and get to a details page. One of the drawbacks of using a COTS package is sometimes you got to kind of make it work the way you want it to work. So I'm hoping that in the future we will be able to not have to do that. So anyway, so you get to a details page, which I think is pretty similar to what we've got on our dashboard today. Again, people like what they like, and this is a lot of feedback that we got was that let's just kind of keep what we had, but you can go through, see all the information on the project that we've got. Again, this is coming out of our source systems. If there's any other associated UPCs, a lot of times we have parent-child relationships with projects, and some projects get lumped together later on, and sometimes they get split out. But if there's an association there, we'll keep that. You've got your schedule. You've got number of days that is set to go to award, and then whether it's the execution date. This is actually on the delivery side. So this is actually a project that's already been awarded and is underway right now. So anyway, this one is set to finish up in July. Of course, I pulled the slide a little while ago. So anyway, so it gives you some detailed information there. So benefits, really what this has really helped us do is to get heightened attention to project schedules and budgets. This has been a big deal, especially to our Commonwealth Transportation Board that provides oversight to us. As we went through, one of the reasons that we did the whole Smart Scale program was we did not want projects to get in the hopper and get on a wish list, and 30 years later, we're still trying to build it. And that is going through the data here. We literally have projects that were started in development in like 1989, and they're still in the system. So we wanted to get them in and get them done and get them, and they're going through on the Smart Scale projects, fully funding them and making sure that we're supposed to be, once they're funded, we told them that we would get them through the system quickly and get them developed and out the door and on the streets. So we're seeing we're locking in on the schedules there to try to hold people to that. Locally administered projects, we definitely have to communicate with our localities. They're not, by and large, they don't do this as much as we do. They're not familiar with the processes, so they've got to kind of keep up with it. So I'll just kind of go through a little bit. So let's compare and contrast. I mentioned the Smart Scale dashboard we did. The one on the Smart Scale dashboard originally was set up to be, we want people to be able to access things on their phone, we want it to be clean, and we want it to be simple. So depending on who your audience is, that might be the way to go. And so what you'll see on the Smart Scale thing, we had very big buttons. We didn't have a whole lot of information on the screen. We try to keep a pretty simple view. It looks pretty on your phone. This is a custom built app in JavaScript. The visualization piece of this was, I don't know, $600,000 or $700,000 by the time we added it all up. So not cheap to build. And then there's still maintenance costs associated with it. So something to keep in mind, as you're going through, if you want to do something similar, what does it cost to build these things? So we focused a little bit different there. This coming internally, a little bit different view, try to keep it a little simpler there. So Smart Scale dashboard, again, we had multiple levels like we had before, but you had to go through multiple screens to get to it, which works well on a phone. Yes?
A quick question. You said that it cost roughly $600,000. Are you building on top of Power BI, or it's its own?
Smart Scale dashboard was its own thing in JavaScript. So we went through a similar process to get the data. We had to do materialized views. But then the visualization piece of that, we did not have Power BI at the time. We went with this custom coded app in JavaScript, and that's what they cost. That's the going rate now. So, yeah, 2 minutes. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. So, and then let's see, going through. This is the level 2. Again, a lot more data here. You've got a lot more filters. It's a lot of information, but from what we got from most of the people that are really using this to try to manage which there's a lot of internal users or contractors or people that are really kind of inside baseball, they liked the feedback we got. They liked this view better. So again, it's really who's your audience. So this is one from a detailed view of the Smart Scale dashboard. Again, you got the information there. You just don't have as much of it. And then compared to the development detail here, where we've got the map and the information and everything all on one screen, where you don't have to click through so many things to get to it. So anyway, so that is all I had. Any questions per se? Yes?
So is this really designed as an internal tool, but it's transparent to the public?
So originally the idea was behind this, that this would be an executive dashboard. Years ago when we did this, it was going to be an internal tool. And then we decided, no, we need to make it external to everybody. So, and over time, and that's kind of what the debate has been, we made it, you know, very transparent, and then when we did the Smart Scale dashboard, I think we got a lot of feedback that, hey, let's make something a little simpler for people to use on their phones, and which was good. I think we tried it, but then when we found out from most of our really heavy users was that they really liked having the data. They're not using it on their phone, they're using it on their desktops, and they're going in, they're more of a heavy data user. So the transparency factor, though, that's the key part of that, because I think, you know, most of this stuff, if we're getting a lot of hits on this, it's usually because there's something wrong. Yeah, a project's gone haywire. I mean, really. I mean, a project's gone haywire somewhere, and people are looking for information on it and trying to dig up whatever they can find. You know, but generally speaking, we have all this. Everybody's always worried whenever we've done a change on this. Like, we're going to get inundated with calls. Don't put my phone number out there. I won't get anything done. And you know what? It never happens. I mean, you might get a little tick up at first, but then it goes away. So.
And this is helping to keep projects on time and on schedule?
Absolutely, because it is out there. We have quarterly meetings with all of our district leadership and our divisions, and no one wants to be last, I'll tell you that. I mean, everybody wants to have, I mean, let me tell you, these two girls can tell us, they call us, like, if there's something wrong, they are fighting and scraping for, why is my project yellow, why is my project red? And we've got to stop and explain what this is how, and sometimes there's been a glitch, or somebody messed something up, and we've got to go back, and we didn't build in a lot of room for error. I mean, we were assuming that people know what they're doing when they're putting in their information into the systems, and then so we get some of that, and then we got to go back and try to fix it, and Ranjani knows that's easier said than done. So yeah. But anyway, yes.
I have two questions. So you mentioned that you created this site in-house. How many people work for how long?
Oh, jeez.
And the next question is how you get the buy-in from the project managers, because I assume they need to update the status.
So good question. So we built the initial, of course, we built the materialized views and the visualization concurrently. So it's hard for me to separate that out. We started this in July of 17. We were going to launch in December of 17. We ran it out to our district, our first group with the data. And because we were using so much data on new projects, and this is what we found before, we exposed the data, and then everybody says, oh no, that data is all wrong. So we spent like the next 7 or 8 months cleaning up the data, and we worked very closely with our field staff, our district project managers, to make sure that we got it right before we launched, and went and we did a soft launch, and we pushed it out there so localities and people could see it first, and then everybody could get really comfortable with it. So, because we didn't want, people everybody said, well, that's just all wrong. But this is all from our source system. So we're just asking folks, there was no new data collected for this. We're just asking folks to do what they were supposed to be doing all along. So it's just, we're shining a light on it, and then people have to keep their information up. But yeah, it was many months of data validation and going back and checking and cleaning and that sort of thing. Yeah. All right. Okay. All right, thanks.